Good evening. This is the Elliott Wave update for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 for Tuesday, May the 7th, 2024. The market continued, both the S&P and the NASDAQ continued to push higher as expected, and still within what I believe will be the minute third wave within a minor fifth wave going up. And today, here starting with the S&P, I'm on the 4-hour chart, we actually knocked on the door of the call wall, which is at 5227 basis the futures and 5200 basis the cash market. So very interesting day. And finally, I do suspect that they'll go up, give it a knock on the door, maybe even try to get through it, maybe come back, go through it, come back, go through it, before eventually breaking it. But I'm not sure exactly when that would happen, because right now it appears that we're in store for a B wave retracement. And so remember that if this is a diagonal forming, then everything is going to have to be ABC, ABC, A, B, C for the size of the wave. Now, this might seem like an opportune moment when I should start to introduce what the other side may be. And because again, this market can get very squirrely is the word that I would use, and just kind of change its mind and start to really go into the opposite direction and do it very quickly. And while that is out there and that may happen, let me just show you that what we have thus far is an A, a B, and a C. This does count as 5 waves. And so I'm labeling it wave A, but if this is all the wrong labeling, and in essence, we could back this whole thing up and say this might be wave 1, although it labels as an ABC. It could also, the market may say, no, you were wrong, and it's wave 1, and this is wave 2. Now, even under that, it doesn't necessarily fit, because it's exceeding resistance levels that you would associate with the second wave. And so I'm going to continue to keep it the way I am, but I'm just throwing that out there. And because we don't have any of the larger, quote unquote, more important economic data coming this week. And in fact, let me just take a look and see what we got, if anything, coming tomorrow. On May the 8th, we have wholesale inventories, and that's about it. And that comes at 10 a.m. So Thursday, initial jobless claims, Friday, consumer sentiment, and that's it. So the big ones come next week. And that's when on Tuesday, we get the producer price index. On Wednesday, we get the consumer price index, U.S. retail sales, Empire State Manufacturing, home builders confidence, and business inventories, all next Wednesday. And then next Thursday, initial jobless claims, Philly Fed manufacturing, housing starts, building permits, import prices, industrial production, and capacity utilization. So the bulk of all of the economic data comes out next week. And then next Friday, the 17th, along with it being an expiration, we will have the U.S. leading economic indicators, which I've always found to be very important, but I may be alone on that one. Now, so how I'm going to count this is that this is wave 1, this is wave 2. This is also going to form 3 waves, and it will be a 5-3-5. So I am thinking that with the size of this, that let's just first take a look. And we're just going to put in our retracement levels for a B wave. And that's basically, I mean, I'm going to kind of leave the 236 up there. Because if the intensity of the rally wants to continue, then the B wave might come in pretty shallow in terms of what we would expect. Would be like 50% to maybe 62, 618, or even as a minimum, 382. So, but right now we have support starting 5182, I'll call it 5181.75, somewhere in there, 5154, 5131. And then 5109. I think below that, then it's not really a 4th wave, or it's not even really, excuse me, it's not really a B wave, because it's almost as if it should just be hanging out here, do an ABC down, and then do another 5 up. And so then I'm expecting this to break. But remember that what's going to get connected is wave 1 and wave 3. So wherever wave 3 comes in right now, it's here. And now it start to put a little bit more of a wedge, but I'm definitely looking for a wedge. Now, I do have other alternate counts that I'm not actually wanting to toss out there. I think the one that I have is still very bullish and still does really call for an eventual move via the S&P, the futures market, above 53.33. That's the current high. So we have 53.44, and that would just be for third. That would just be wave 3. And then outside of that, we have for the minor fifth wave, we have 618 at 53.64. I have not taken out that we still could go further. That, if we do, is where I will start to bring in an alternate count. So in other words, if we start surpassing these levels and looking at I wonder what happened to that. That kind of went away. I had my 1.382 up there and it's gone. So let me put that back. I think we may have already gone past it, which is why I may have taken it down, but let me double check and go over here and edit. So I'm taking everything else off because it doesn't matter. And I'm going to put 1.382 and see where that comes in. It does. So we've already gone through it. Now that kind of brings up, we haven't gone through it again, but we exceeded it a little bit by 26 points when we got to 53.33, because it comes in at 53.07, that's 1.382, which is where the irregular B wave would be expected to reach or could reach, but it's exceeded it, and now we're looking at it might exceed it again. That does put the S&P in a little bit of a different light, and that's what I'm talking about with the additional alternate. And we'll see how this goes right now before I actually start moving over to that, because it does not suggest tremendously additional highs. But if we start getting up closer to here, it's going to be a little bit of a different count. Outcome, in my mind, would still be the same. So let's go back down here and let's take a look at this. And let's just take it down to the hourly chart and double check. And then you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Either that or it's still got more to go. Now, if this continues, let me just say, if this continues, then it's going to really kind of change how I want to view this. Because if this doesn't kind of come down in a nice corrective, a nice ABC and get into somewhere down here where we have support, then it could very likely be a much larger, but just a 5-wave 3. And that would then take us away from the diagonal. So that's still out there. But right now, here's what I think we can look for tomorrow, is that we should continue to pull back. We've had a really decent rally here. We got up to that call wall today. So a pullback would be expected. From here, I mean, I can come back down. Let's go look at the 15-minute chart. You can see how this actually comes down pretty quick. Ding, 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 ding. So it's almost A, B already, or 1, 2. And now, you see, we're getting all caught up in here and not being able to follow through to the downside. And that keeps, I want to say, the yellow caution flag out, but that just leaves the upside, the strength in the upside in place if we can't even get any type of a small pullback. And really, truly what it could be is also just an A, B, and we get a C wave back up to here, maybe a little higher, and then come back down in the C. So right now, I also could like to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave wave A of B, and now we're doing the B of B, and we do a C of B, which might be a nicer 5 waves, stronger 5 waves. But I would really hope that we could at least get down to 0.236, which is at 5182. And so it's not even all that great of a drop. And it might just happen overnight. We don't know. Moving averages, coming back out and taking a look at that 4-hour chart just to see how they're doing. They're all doing very well, right? Right now, excuse me, the 50 is getting ready to go above the 200. So you can see that the 13 and the 20 are already there and really just kind of following this intensity of the rally as they should. So they're not cresting. They're not slightly starting to roll, but nothing too serious. And now you can see that the 200 is kind of arced and now turning its face towards the higher levels. And then we have the 50 really picking up the steam now, turning and getting very close. And it'll cross right now, if we stay right where we are, at about 51.48, 49. And that's not too far from where it is. So strengthen the rally, brings that up, and then it will be in alignment where the 200 is on the bottom, then the 50, then the 20, and the 13, and we're off to the races. And that may tell us volumes, believe it or not. So, but I'll get to that when and if it happens. So everything looking pretty good in the S&P. We'll see if we can get that pull back in and then continue the rally. In the NASDAQ also played to the upside, but had a lot more push and pull today as NVIDIA and SMCI decided to really take a dump early and then not really fulfilling their destiny, so to speak. So and updating it here, beginning on the 4-hour chart, I continue to look at this as the development of a diagonal. Now I'm kind of going out on a limb because I'm basing that on how I'm counting the very first part of it. So if that is the case, then I'm going to think that this could be A, and then we're going to come in the B wave, and here are our markers for the B wave: 18,056, 17,929, 928, 17,825. Yes, we know that the NASDAQ is quite capable of just drifting and coming right down, but there's really where the support comes in. 18,056 down to about 18,090. 17,990, excuse me. And it might not get much deeper and then start to go again. Same deal with the moving averages, at least on the 4-hour chart. We've got the 13 and the 20 really cruising up and going. So this could change very quickly if we start to come down. We'll see that the 13 will flip right away, and then the 20 will flip right away, and these will go flat until broken and substantially the market were to move lower. Now, same thing exists in the NASDAQ as does in the S&P. This could be ABC A, this could be B, and this is 5 waves, and it could be a C wave of what? Yet to be determined if it should happen. And now, if that is the case, folks, then what I would be expecting is a very strong turn and a quick turn and a quick drop. And outside of economic numbers, it's going to have to be something that would be a surprise. So, and we know that there's plenty of those that can happen. But right now, I am now looking for just a smaller pullback and a continuation of the upside. And what we have in terms of the minor 5th wave is 618 is at 18,369. And that's actually, I thought that might be where we might get the wave A, and it still might be. It still might be. Because there's 2, and I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or maybe they have 1 more and they're going to get it up to here and then do a larger pullback. That's also a possibility as well. And this trend line is going to change because, again, it's 1 connected to 3. And this is just A of 3 in my book. So we're going to look for the same thing here. We'll look for a little bit more pullback. There's our markers. And again, here is one where we can find support to actually complete. Otherwise, we're coming into areas where we're just straight rally. So maybe, 18,056, 57, 17,029, 30, somewhere in there. And moving averages, looking good. At the 50, if we do another strong little move, I think that it'll be above the 200, and then everything will be remaining in alignment to go up. So again, tomorrow, nothing again, just to mention, all we have tomorrow are wholesale sales, and that comes out at 10 a.m. Wholesale inventories, excuse me, and that comes out at 10 a.m. Eastern. All right, that's going to be it for today. Our next update will be on Wednesday, May the 8th.